Lifeline is a cracking good legend and I think underused. I made a guide for her a couple seasons ago, and in that guide I made a grave mistake. I mentioned that Lifeline should not be used aggressively and should always be at the back of the team, providing health, making sure her team can stay in the fight for as long as possible. However, in this video I'll be going back on what I said before and not just providing a safe way to play Lifeline, how most people do, but also an aggressive way to play Lifeline, and how I kind of told myself that this isn't possible, but let me tell you right now, it's very possible. Bear in mind this guide is for Battle Royale, not arenas. Lifeline is just too good in arenas and shouldn't need much of a guide. Literally just get a gold bag and res as much as you can. As I said, arenas, people normally wait to push, and if they down someone you can res them up and provide cover fire, which stops that. But this is a Battle Royale Lifeline guide. But Lifeline is in a weird space right now in Season 12. People are calling for buffs, for nerfs, but unfortunately she's just not viable in higher ranks and competitive play. There have been multiple calls to have Lifeline changed as we continue to get aggressive and even more recon legends. What do you think about Lifeline at the moment in the meta? Would love to love to see what you guys think in the comments below. If you aren't, consider subscribing to the channel for some more guides, some more Apex content. But let's get right into the nitty-gritty of it. Lifeline's really good at keeping the fights going due to being able to res and shoot. Normally when someone gets downed, the enemy team will rush them, they'll push them hard, but Lifeline doesn't really allow for this. But then if you are getting hard pushed and your teammate will just get up and get downed immediately with having 0 HP. One of the most annoying things is being revived to then just die a second later, and your teammate could have maybe helped your other teammate, or it's just a complete mess and you just get up and die with 0 HP. Reviving is really good in Apex Legends, but sometimes it's also good to not revive. Keep an eye and cancel the revive if your teammate starts getting thirsted, which will then allow them to use their knockdown shield and not just, lay there whilst the enemy unloads a full magazine into them. I've seen this happen many times, and it's happened to me multiple times. When you've got your knockdown shield out, your teammate Lifeline comes over, drops a revive, and then you are getting just killed because you don't have your knockdown shield anymore and you're just getting res by the Lifeline dock drone. Now, the first thing shouldn't have to be said, but please drop your healing drone, the DOC, everywhere. Literally everywhere. It has such a short cooldown, there should never be someone on your team with not full HP. Obviously, unless you are in a fight, but when picking someone up, immediately drop your drone and res. If you get caught out, dip into cover, drop your drone and pop a shield battery. Within 4 seconds, you can be back in the fight ready to go. Obviously, you should never allow yourself to be caught out or have a plan, should you get caught out. But it's good to know that you do, with Lifeline, have a plan B in case that does happen. But again, please do not account for this. First up in her abilities is a healing drone. It's super good and underused. You can win most fights with a healing drone. It does provide a lot of longevity. You can keep the fight going a long time. And you can even give yourself a huge advantage, especially if you're popping out over cover to shoot and then popping back into cover. If you both have no shield but you have your healing drone, you will win the fight with the constant healing. But it's rarely used in this way, and I'll explain what I mean by this towards the end of the video. Lifeline's ultimate is kind of useless. There are 0 tips I can give you, as it's literally just calling down a care package. Use ultimate accelerants to speed it up and use whenever you need it. It can provide some nice shields, it can provide, syringes, but ultimately, pun intended, it is pretty useless in the late game. The problem is that you will give, that loot, you should already have that loot. When you cool down the Lifeline ultimate, you should already have that loot. The only thing that you could possibly need at that point is shields and syringes. Maybe a good body armor if you just have not been fighting. But in this case, the question would be, why would you not choose Loba? So you can get more than just consumables, you can get ammo, you can get guns. It's just one of the many questions people ask when they see a Lifeline main. Now onto the main chunk of this video, playing Lifeline differently. I made a video that did really well and people loved the premise. Basically, Lifeline should never be used aggressive. It should always be staying back, healing teammates, and never initiating. Is basically Lifeline's bread and butter. But what if you play her aggressively? So I actually had a ton of fun and a lot of success in playing her as a medium aggressive player. The problem is I only play legends like Octane, Ashe, Mad Maggie, so when I play Lifeline I forget and I just can't sit back behind the enemy team. I have to be the one pushing, I have to be the one initiating. But it did lead to some pretty interesting results. I truly believe I was wrong and you can in fact play as the initiator. But it just would beg the question, why would you not pick X legend or why would you not pick Y legend? But to be honest, the main point as to why you can play Lifeline as an aggressive player is, as I said earlier, the ability to heal and shield and be back in fighting form all within 4 to 5 seconds is completely forgotten about, and is definitely a way that you can utilize Lifeline when you're going into that aggressive, aggressive play style. People will look at a Lifeline on their team as, if you are a Lifeline main, they will look and they will notice that you are a Lifeline and they will be expecting you to not be a pusher, not be an initiator or an RGL, more sitting back and waiting to see what the team does. In the higher ranks, people focus on one person in fights and then they move on to the next. To stop the spread of damage and dying, they can take out player by player. So what I mean by this is, say we're doing duos, me and you, and we're attacking a Gibraltar and a Bangalore. If I do 60% damage to the Bangalore and you do 40% damage to the Bangalore, to the Gibraltar, ultimately we could have taken out one legend, but we decided to spread the damage over 2. In the higher ranks this doesn't happen a lot, and you can actually see this when you watch ALGS or you watch people in Masters to Predators. That's one of the things that 3 stacking is really good for, is rather than spreading the damage, pinpointing one legend and taking them out the fight immediately. So with that being said, as Lifeline, in the lower ranks you will have the option to dip out and heal and fight, get back into the fight with full HP and full shields. You'll have that ability. So to finish up, Lifeline is a great defensive legend. Normally you shouldn't be aggressive, you should be behind your team at all times, but you can actually play her the complete opposite as an aggressive way. At the end of the day, if you enjoy playing Lifeline, play her however you want, and the same goes for any legends. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next video.